This market's been so enthusiastic for high-flying speculative stocks that you simply can't afford to ignore them. Take quantum computing. This is an idea that's been around for ages, but it always seemed pie in the sky. Until the past year or two, that is. Now lots of people are betting that it could become a reality much sooner than most people thought even just a couple of years ago. Consider the case of ionq. Okay, this is the largest company in the space. Now has a $23 billion market capitalization, with the stock up a quick 64% since we last spoke to the CEO in late July. Most of those gains have come in just the past couple of weeks since the company held a very successful analyst day and followed that up with more positive news, including last week's announcement that we got to find more about. The company signed a memorandum of understanding with the U.S. Department of Energy to advance quantum technologies in space. So let's take a closer look with Niccolo de Masi. He's the chairman and CEO of ionq to learn more. Mr. Masi, welcome back to Mad Money.
Wonderful. Great to be here, my friend.
Well, you have had some run, and it looks like many of the things that you said would come true have happened. I want to go with this most recent news, the memorandum of understanding with the Department of Energy about quantum and space, because this would be very interesting to.
Yes, well, remember, we're the biggest player in the space, as you correctly announced at our introduction. And we're the biggest player not just in computing, but also in networking and now sensing. And we also own a signals intelligence platform to do quantum key distribution in space, right? So we've been busy this year putting together the pieces for precisely this sort of partnership. We are thinking big. We are thinking about projects, as large as Golden Dome and how we fit into that. We're thinking about the transatlantic partnership. I was just at Chequers with President Trump and Prime Minister Starmer, obviously, talking about what we can do for the alliance, as well as what we can do for the Five Eyes and beyond. So I agree with your introduction completely, Jim. Quantum is here, and quantum is going to gallop forward. And I think the market has really solidified behind ionq as I like to say, the NVIDIA of the quantum space.
Well, I like that, but I did want to, I know you guys are partners, but I thought of you today when I heard about all the money going into data centers, because you have said that in 10 years, we're probably going to look back and think how crazy it is that we thought nuclear reactors that are powering data centers, size of football fields in the future. You're talking about burning much lighter and a much smaller footprint, which to me seems a lot more rational than what we've been talking about.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, today's GPU computing policies look like energy policy, if you will. And you think about the marginal costs, and you think about how that sector is run. It's really driven by energy. You're correct. Our analyst day, we had some big news. It was mostly the announcement of our 100-qubit system, our AQ64 system, as it's called, which we announced as being 36 quadrillion times more powerful than the most powerful machine in the marketplace from our competitors. Now, that's a machine that takes approximately 1 billion GPUs to simulate, if you try to simulate what it can do. And it's obviously running off of a wall socket. It's not running off of a small modular nuclear reactor or a football field. It's a machine the size of a few commercial refrigerators. So it's a harbinger of what is to come. We're very much just getting started here, but you remember from last time that we're inflecting at a double exponential rate, which is probably what's driving our analyst community to understand finally what's happening at ionq, which is it's not Moore's law where you double every 2 years in compute power. We double every time we add a logical qubit. So machines can become hundreds of millions of times, billions of times, trillions of times more powerful between generations, right? And it's literally changing the world, sometimes, every few months as we add more logical qubits.
I want to go back to what you said when you're over with the president and Prime Minister Starmer. Now, what you just described would be ideal to shoot down anything that was sent at our country. And I have to believe that whatever was lobbed at us will almost seem like in slow motion to ionq's prevention if you're involved with Golden Dome.
Well, I can't confirm and deny where we are on amongst these initiatives, but I think it's safe to say that we're the only company in the world who is able to stitch together space, sensing, quantum computing, quantum networking, right? So that is a unique MOU. It is a direction that we're positioning for and we are resourcing. And it's a position not just in the US, obviously, but for the Five Eyes and NATO. I think sovereign systems are in demand around the world. And I think people are recognizing that quantum is about sovereign systems and sovereign capabilities. The transatlantic partnership, is in full bloom. I think there was $250 billion of investment that went into Checkers from the U.S. into the U.K., and we were a proud part of that. I was there with other great CEOs of our era on both sides of the Atlantic. And so we hope to be a big part of strengthening national security and national economic security for both the U.S. and the U.K., and ultimately the Five Eyes and NATO.
Okay, so Nicola, one of the things that intrigues me is, at what point do you decide, you know what, let's go for some profitability? And I will preface this by saying I wouldn't. I would go for growth. Because as long as you're going for growth and your market cap's where it is, who is to say why you need to constrain yourself by profitability? But I am sure there are people maybe on your board or your investors who say, okay, enough is enough. Now let's start making money.
Our shareholder base has been very supportive, not just since I took over, but, previously, over the last 5 years since we were the first public company in the sector. We are executing well. Right, we've expanded the vision and we've expanded the TAM from just computing to networking to sensing on the ground, up in the heavens. We've accelerated our technical roadmap a long way, both organically through the right hires and inorganically by doing things like buying Oxford Ionics in Oxford, England. We also recently acquired Vector Atomics to give us the leading position in the quantum sensing space. And so our story now is not just about the verticals of computing, networking, sensing, but it's how we stitch them together. And so I'm very focused on building that long-term customer ecosystem and customer moat, if you will, by being able to land and expand with any one of these quantum services, and also being the only company in the world that can deliver the full quantum internet, right? So capturing data with quantum sensors, computing that with our quantum computers, transmitting that securely across quantum networks, and being able to do that globally on the ground, and of course up in the heavens. That's where our customers want us to go. So I'm very proud of our shareholder base. I mean, they understand what we do. They're very inquisitive, both at our analyst day and of course just on a daily basis, and they follow us in incredible depth. So I'm proud of the global nature of it. I'm proud of our global impact. And we obviously continue to drive the business in a direction that our shareholders seem to appreciate, support, and understand.
Now, one thing that did your CFO said something that intrigued me. You were talking about the different kinds of threats and how Palo Alto and CrowdStrike, there's two companies we like very much, that none of them would work against the threats that are quantum. Now, that scared me because these are people we count on to be able to protect us.
Yeah, so quantum networking, which is a core strength of ours, is a requirement in a world of quantum computing ubiquity down the road. And it's certainly, I believe, a very much good to have, if not a requirement today, if you think about classical cybersecurity threats. And so I like to always say, Jim, that you can spot our quantum networking customers because they're the ones that are not in the news for data breaches and cybersecurity breaches, okay?
Right.
And they are some of the world's largest financial institutions and telcos. And at the end of the day, what's beautiful about QKD, quantum key distribution, which we are the leader in globally, is it's not just that it's practically unbreakable, it is theoretically unbreakable. So even in 50 years' time, no matter how powerful quantum computers become, it will not be breakable. And so you have none of this download now, decrypt later phenomenon that you have right now for classical encryption. There's a game of cat and mouse going on right now where there's data breaches and people are grabbing data, waiting for quantum computers to be able to come along and crack all that, obviously. And unfortunately, we're the good guys here, right? But there's going to be bad guys. There always are in every computing revolution, right? And so QKD is your solution today and in the long term and the medium term to keep your data safe.
All right, well, I'm rooting for the good guys. Nicola Damasi, Chairman, CEO of ionq. You've really built a great company here. Don't sacrifice growth for profitability. Don't listen to those people.
Totally agree.
All right.
Totally agree, Jim. And you still owe me that co-host from last time. So we can talk full hour next time about that. Growth over profitability.
Man, buddies,
I agree.